These are excerpts from When Genius Remained Your Humble Servant by Robert Benchley from his 1921 book, Of All Things. Of course, I really know nothing about it, but I would be willing to wager that the last words of Penelope as Odysseus bounced down the front steps, bag in hand, were, "Now don't forget to write, Odie. You'll find some papyrus rolled up in your clean peplum, and just drop me a line on it whenever you get a chance." And ever since that time, people have been promising to write, and then explaining why they haven't written. Most personal correspondence of today consists of letters, the first half of which are given over to an index statement of reasons why the writer hasn't written before, followed by one paragraph of small talk, with the remainder devoted to reasons why it is imperative that the letter be brought to a close. But there was a time when letter writing was such a fad, especially among the young girls, that if they had had to choose between eating 3 meals a day and writing a letter, they wouldn't have given the meals even a consideration. Take Miss Clarissa Harlowe, for instance. In Richardson's book, which in spite of my personal aversion to it, has been hailed by every great writer from Pope to Stevenson as being perfectly bully, she is given the opportunity of telling 2,400 closely printed pages full of story by means of letters to her female friend, Miss Howe. And 2,400 pages is nothing to her. When the book closes, she is just beginning to get her stride. To a girl like Clarissa in the middle of the 18th century, no day was too full of horrors, no hour was too crowded with terrific happenings to prevent her from seating herself at a desk — she must have carried the desk about with her strapped over her shoulder — and tearing off 20 or 30 pages to friend Anna, telling her all about it. The only way that I could see in which she could accomplish this so efficiently would be to have a copy boy standing at her elbow, who took the letter sheet by sheet as she wrote it and dashed with it to the printer. It is hard to tell just which a girl of that period considered more important, the experiences she was writing of or the letter itself. She certainly never slighted the letter. If the experience wanted to overtake her and jump up on the desk beside her, all right, but experience or no experience, she was going to get that letter in the next post or die in the attempt. Unfortunately, she never died in the attempt. Thus, an attack on a young lady's house by a band of cutthroats, resulting in the burning of the structure and her abduction, might have been told of in the 18th century letter system as follows. Monday night. Sweet Anna, at this writing I find myself in the most horrible circumstance imaginable. Picture to yourself, if you can, my dear Anna, a party of villainous brigands, veritable cutthroats, all of them, led by a surly fellow in green alpaca with white insertion, breaking their way by very force through the side of your domicile, like so many ugly intruders, and threatening you with vile imprecations to make you disclose the hiding place of the family jewels. If the mere thought of such a contingency is painful to you, my beloved Anna, consider what it means to me, your delicate friend, to whom it is actually happening at this very minute. For such is in very truth the situation which is disclosing itself in my room as I write. Not 3 feet away from me is the odious person before described. Now he is threatening me with renewed vigor. Now he has placed his coarse hands on my throat, completely hiding the pearl necklace which Papa brought me from Epsom last summer, and which you and also young Pendleton, whose very name I mention with a blush, have so often admired. But more of this later, and until then, believe me, my dear Anna, to be your ever distressed and affectionate Clarissa Harlowe. Monday night, later. Dearest Anna, now, indeed, it is evident, my best, my only friend, that I am face to face with the bitterest of fates. You will remember that in my last letter I spoke to you of a party of unprincipled knaves who were invading my apartment. And now do I find that they have, in furtherance of their inexcusable plans, set fire to that portion of the house which lies directly behind this, so that as I put my pen to paper, the flames are creeping, like hungry creatures of some sort, through the partitions and into this very room, so that, did I esteem my safety more than my correspondence with you, my precious companion, I should at once be making preparation for immediate departure. Oh, my dear, to be thus seized, as I am at this very instant, by the unscrupulous leader of the band, and carried by brute force, down the stairway, through the butler's pantry, and into the servants' hall, writing as I go, resting my poor paper on the shoulder of my detested abductor, is truly, you will agree, my sweet Anna, a pitiable episode. Adieu, my intimate friend, your obedient servant, Clarissa Harlowe. One wonders, or at least I wonder, and that is sufficient for the purposes of this article, what the letter-writing young lady of that period would have done had she lived in this day of postcards. The foregoing scene could hardly have been done justice to on a card bearing the picture of the main street of the town, looking north from the Soldiers' Monument, with the following legend. Our house is the third on the left, with the lilac bush. Cross Mark's window, where a gang of roughnecks have just broken in and are robbing and burning the house. Looks like a bad night. Wish you were here. C.H. No, that would never have done, but it would have been a big relief for the postilion or whoever it was that had to carry Miss Clarissa's effusions to their destination. The mail on Monday morning, after a spring-like Sunday, must have been something in the nature of a wagon load of rolls of newsprint that used to be seen standing in front of newspaper offices in the good old days when newspapers were printed on paper stock. Of course, the postilion had the opportunity of whiling away the time between stations by reading some of the spicier bits of the assortment. But even a postilion must have had his feelings, and a man can't read that kind of stuff all the time and still keep his health.